Morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning. Welcome to the Chicopee Police Department. The reason we call for this media conference is to discuss the increase in traffic crashes involving pedestrians, as well as some enforcement strategies that have been implemented. Mayor John View and Chief Patrick Major will be speaking about these matters shortly. At the conclusion of the speeches, we will hold a brief question and answer period. Due to the fact that many of our recent crashes are still under investigation, we will not be able to comment on the current statuses of those crashes or if charges have been filed. Once the investigations have been completed, we, along with the Hamilton County District Attorney's Office, will provide information. At this time, I'd like to call Mayor View to the podium.
Thank you, Travis. I would like to thank you all for coming out and helping us to get our message out. It's very important. I appreciate the relationship with the media. As you're aware, the city of Chicopee has seen an increase in accidents involving pedestrians and now someone on a bicycle. I would like to offer my deepest condolences to the families and their friends in this time of sorrow. The Chicopee Police Department is highly trained, and I'm confident together we can make a difference. My administration recognizes and understands the concerns of the community, and I appreciate your support. Our goal is to provide the community with safe roads to travel on, and we ask everyone to help us do that and reach that goal by being patient and respectful when you're behind the wheel. I fully support Chief Major and the officers of the Chicopee Police Department. I believe through enforcement, media advisories, and educating motorists of the community, we can crack down on some of the recklessness. My office is here to work with the police department to ensure that they have the tools they need to not only keep themselves safe, but to keep the city of Chicopee safe. Thank you.
This time, I'd like to welcome Chief Major.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Thank you for coming out today. I'd first like to offer my condolences to the families of Nicholas Weichel, William Madison, and Gary Turcott. The loss of a family member is heartbreaking and tragic. If there's anything that I or the department can do to be of assistance to you, please let me know. The sorrow and grief that these families are feeling is a result of tragic motor vehicle crashes. There have been far too many in recent weeks. I want the community to know that we as a department understand the safety concerns when traveling throughout the city. We will be strictly enforcing moving violations as they are observed, both in motorists as well as pedestrians. I have authorized the use of overtime to put additional traffic cars on the road throughout the holidays. These cars will be designated to traffic enforcement. We will continue to educate the public with media advisories as well as public service announcements through a social media campaign and with our local news networks. In addition, we will be deploying our speed trailers in different locations throughout the city to not only alert operators of their speed, but to also collect data as to the best time to conduct targeted enforcement. Our goal is to educate the public and enforce the laws of the Commonwealth, and I believe that these initiatives will make that possible. We are also asking for the public to help. Please, obey the speed limit, put down your electronic devices, be aware of others while on the roads, and of course, never drive under the influence. If you are walking at night, use caution when crossing the road. Make eye contact with operators to ensure that they see you. Wear reflective clothing and carry a flashlight. I want to thank my officers for their rapid responses and professionalism involving these calls. I also want you to know that our holiday wish is to not have to inform another family member that their loved one will not be with them. Please be safe and obey the law. Thank you.
This time, if we have any questions.
Chief Major, you talked about enforcing the motorist laws, obviously, but also those pedestrian laws as well. It won't be something silly, but it's come to a point where can you remind people what those laws are and what you guys and your officers will be looking out for?
Specifically, following the rules, the traffic signs at the lights, make sure that if there is a light for pedestrian use, to follow the instructions of the light, use the crosswalks, don't jaywalk, be mindful of the traffic around you, I especially want to remind parents to speak to their children as well. Make sure if they are out at night to have reflective clothing on or walk with an adult. And as the mayor and I both stated, for the pedestrians, make sure if you're crossing a road, try to make eye contact with the driver, the operator of a vehicle, so that you know that they're aware that you're in the area while you're crossing the street.
If I may, it's simple. I think back to being a young adolescent and my parents teaching me and family and friends to first, before I cross the street, the ball just rolled across in my little suburban neighborhood. Look both ways. Simply do that. Make sure you're making that eye contact with the driver and make sure there's enough space for you to cross. I know some of these things do sound like common sense, but our goal is to keep people safe. And I just saw this yesterday. I was crossing at a light. The light was green. I was stopped at the red, and a pedestrian just decided he was going to cross in the crosswalk through the green, not obeying the signal button, which was telling you not to walk. And this person just decided, didn't even look. And that's concerning to me. So we need the help of the public to also do their part, and our goal is to keep everyone safe. It's paramount to the city and our success. Our goal is public safety. So thank you. Great question.
And as far as timing, when do you all plan to implement some of these new policies as far as the overtime and the speed, the speed trackers and that nature?
The overtime has already started. Probably about a week and a half ago, we started having extra officers on the street. And actually, far before that, even over the summertime, we had overtime details out for traffic enforcement. The speed trailers, I think many of you have seen, have been deployed throughout the city. And we often get input from the citizens and from our elected officials that they're getting notified by their constituents as to problem areas, and we try to deploy them there.
In that past week and a half, have you seen more tickets? Have you had success with that enforcement?
I believe we have. I looked at some of the data today, and I know that through some of our other public meetings, our department has issued close to 6,000 tickets this year already. And I think that shows a very proactive police effort out there trying to enforce and educate the public as far as motor vehicle laws are concerned. But yes, there has, I believe, been an uptick in citations. And not only that, but in some cases, the officers are stopping and just trying to educate, again, the motors as to possible infractions that they might not have been aware of or something that could possibly seem minor.
When you look at the crashes that took place throughout the past year, is there a common thread? For example, distracted driving with phones, operating under the influence. Is there something that stands out as the major issue that you're seeing, or have you not noticed a pattern like that yet?
I don't think necessarily a pattern. I believe we've seen a little bit of all of that involved. Some of it has been speed related. There have been a couple accidents related to operating under the influence. I think the overall message is while you're on the road, there's three things that definitely impact traveling on the roads: distance, velocity or speed, and time. And that's what it takes for these crashes and collisions to occur. That's why we're asking people to slow down. Plan your trips in advance. Don't be rushing when you're out on the roads, and please be patient. The roads are for everybody's use. People going to work, people going to school, emergency vehicles, shoppers, everybody's out on the road. We have to make them safe for everybody.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that question, getting a little more into like the why has there been an increase? Do you think it has to do with the weather or, just the holiday season?
Richard, I can't speculate as to the reason why that there's been an increase. I do know that it's not just Chicopee that this is happening. They're nationwide. The traffic deaths have trended upwards over the last couple of years. So it is an effort for everybody. And again, it takes our efforts as law enforcement. It takes the elected officials getting the message out to the constituents. And it all starts at home with everybody and personal responsibility. Motor vehicles are inherently dangerous, especially for pedestrians out there. That's why it's imperative for the people walking on the streets to be mindful of the traffic around them and the same goes for the drivers operating the vehicles.
Mayor Beard,
Yeah.
Sure.
any structural changes that we're considering, for example, the one where Gary Turcotte was killed at crosswalk there, we've sat there in the dark and it's been really dark, hard for drivers to see. Any ideas that you are trying to implement with the DPW, like hawk lights or some kind of lights letting drivers know that pedestrians are in the crosswalk or anything like that?
I think you asked me this question before. Yes, and the answer is yes. Right in front of City Hall, right now, we're installing their, I believe you're calling them the flashing lights. What'd you call them?
Hawk lights.
Hawk. I think it's similar, but what they are, they're flashing pedestrian solar-powered lights that are going to be installed right in front of City Hall. And the message that I said to the public is if there's an area that's of high volume pedestrian access that needs that type of situation addressed, our professional engineers in DPW, I have a lot of faith in them. So we're investigating that now. We're looking at putting up more signage to identify the streets. Please, everyone who's out there listening, it's 25 miles an hour on a street if it's not posted. That's been adopted citywide. It's at every egress into our city. And we're going to try to locate certain areas that are high traffic volume along long stretches to identify those speed limits for people, that even if it is 25. So the goal is to put up more signage and ask everyone to do their part. I mean, it's no secret, I had 8 neighborhood meetings, and the biggest concern that we heard from the neighborhoods was speeding. We've been working with the chief and DPW on trying to address those concerns, and frankly, I think we're doing everything we can, and we're going to continue to progress in the right direction with making sure that intersections and areas of crossing are safe. So yes, I've been receiving a lot of calls about Chicopee Street. DPW is working in tandem with the Chicopee Police Department and our professional engineers to figure out where the best locations are going to be and what the best device may be that we use to keep people safe. You know, we are piloting speed bumps. They're called speed tables on Front Street now. It took a long time to get to that point. And again, they're in a pilot. We're seeing the impact it has on the neighborhood, on speeding, on other streets that parallel Front Street, and frankly, how they're handled in the winter. With the plow trucks and the pilot program, we're hopeful is successful and something that we're considering to implement in other streets in the city.
So how do those 6,000 tickets that you cited, how does that compare with other years?
I'd say it's fairly comparable. Obviously, some years are going to have more or less, but I'd say that for the officers we have in the department, our staffing level, it's probably more than we've had in the past. We're currently still short approximately 20 hours. The mayor and the city council have been fantastic in allowing me to get back up to a full complement. And we're doing our best to get the candidates through the background checks and the hiring process now to hopefully get them into the academy in April. And obviously, once we get our staffing levels up, we'll be able to have more officers out on the street to enforce the laws.
You talk about how this is a nationwide problem. Are you able to communicate with other communities who might be going through similar issues, other cities, departments, or is this a totally internal process getting to the point of these policies?
Right now, it's been internal, but obviously I do attend meetings with other chiefs from departments and statewide, and we've all kind of had the same concerns. Traffic is always a concern in any of the municipalities and cities. Unfortunately, for right now, we have seen an uptick in the fatalities. So my goal is to work with my command staff and my traffic bureau and any elected officials to see the course of action that's going to best prevent these accidents from happening. Any other questions? We very much appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I wish you a happy, safe, and prosperous holiday season and New Year. Thank you.